Have you ever wondered why someone you loved suddenly leaves your life? Why their absence feels like a deep void, a constant ache in your heart? It's painful, it's confusing, but could there be a hidden message behind it? A purpose that you haven't uncovered yet? Every person who enters your life isn't there by mere chance. They are a reflection of something deeper within you. Each relationship represents a mirror, showing you parts of yourself you may not have been aware of. Maybe it's a lesson you needed to learn, a challenge you needed to face, or even an unhealed wound that needs to be addressed. When someone stays on your mind long after they've left, it's because there's something about that connection you haven't fully understood. It's not about them, it never was. It's about you. The feelings that arise when you think of them are your psyche's way of calling your attention to something important. Are you ready to face it? What does it really mean to close a chapter in your life? When we talk about closure, many of us think it's about the other person, about them returning and providing us with the answers we crave. But true closure doesn't come from someone else, it comes from within. Closing a cycle doesn't mean pretending that person never existed or acting as though they had no impact on your life. It means understanding what that relationship represented. What was the lesson they were meant to teach you? How did they push you toward growth? Understanding the true essence of that connection is the key to setting yourself free. You don't need them to confirm what that connection meant. You can figure it out by looking inward. By understanding how that person touched your life, you begin to understand yourself better. But if you don't consciously close this chapter, if you leave it unresolved, you risk repeating the same patterns. You'll attract the same types of relationships, feel the same emptiness, and keep wondering why you can't move on. Our unconscious mind doesn't leave things unresolved. We often think we've moved on from someone, but if their memory still lingers in your thoughts, there's likely a deeper reason. Our unconscious minds don't forget. They don't let go of unresolved energy until we address it. If you keep thinking about someone who is no longer part of your life, it's not because you're stuck on them. It's because your psyche is trying to show you something. A pattern, an emotional wound, or even a part of yourself that you've neglected. Maybe it's emotional dependency that you've repeated in previous relationships. Or perhaps it's an abandonment wound from your past, one that needs healing. It could even be a part of yourself that you gave away to that person. And now it's time to reclaim it. The unconscious mind works through symbols and patterns, and these patterns keep showing up until we confront them. That's why we often feel like something hasn't ended, even if there's no physical contact anymore. The first step toward emotional freedom is seeing the story for what it truly is. We tend to get caught in the surface level story. Why didn't they reach out? Why aren't they responding? But this is a distraction. The real question is, what did this person represent in your life? What part of you did they reflect back at you? And perhaps most importantly, what part of your shadow did they activate? Jung taught us about the shadow, the aspects of ourselves we avoid, the parts that we're ashamed of or afraid to face. But it's precisely these parts that hold the key to our growth. Every person who enters our life has the potential to bring our shadow to the surface. When we face these hidden parts of ourselves, we begin to heal. It's not about why the person left, it's about what they awakened within you. Are you ready to face it? Healing often involves facing what we most want to avoid. Confronting the pain of loss is never easy. It's so tempting to hold on to the hope that they'll return, because it feels safer than facing the pain of their absence. We often hope that if we wait long enough, things will make sense. But transformation doesn't happen without facing pain head-on. Jung taught us that true change comes when we're willing to go through discomfort and confront the wounds we've been avoiding. The pain of loss, isn't something you need to push away. In fact, it's only by fully feeling the grief that you can heal. When you face your own pain, and not just intellectually, but emotionally, you start to reclaim the energy that was once trapped in the past. you start to move forward. Not because the past no longer matters, but because you've learned from it, and that's how we grow. Understanding the lesson is not enough. You must feel it. It's one thing to know intellectually what the lesson was, but it's another thing to truly feel it, experience it, and integrate it. Healing is a process, and it requires you to let go of your need for external closure. It's not enough to just think about what that person taught you. You must allow yourself to feel the grief, the anger, the sadness, or whatever emotions arise. The moment you stop waiting for someone to return and instead focus on what you need to heal within yourself, something deep within you shifts. That energy that was once stuck in the past begins to release. You start to realize that what you were looking for in another person was always inside you. All the love, validation, and self-worth you seek externally have always been within you. True freedom comes when you stop looking for someone to complete you. One of the most liberating realizations you can have is that you don't need anyone to complete you. You are already whole. When you stop looking outside yourself for validation, your energy changes. You stop feeling empty and you start feeling whole again. No one else can fill that void because that void doesn't exist. It was only a creation of your mind based on a belief that you were incomplete. This is when peace begins to settle in. The longing fades, the anxiety dissipates, and the need for control disappears. This is the moment when true freedom begins. Not because you've forgotten that person, but because you've understood. You've integrated the lesson, and you no longer need that person to be a part of your life in order to feel complete. When you stop waiting for someone to give you closure, you realize that closure has always been within you. It's easy to think that closure must come from the other person. We often believe that if we can just get that one conversation or that final gesture from them, we'll be able to move on. But the truth is, closure never comes from the outside. It comes from within. It comes the moment you stop waiting for someone to give it to you. When you decide to stop looking outside for closure, you start looking inward. You begin to understand that the relationship wasn't about them. It was about what you needed to learn about yourself. And the moment you accept this, the energy shifts. You no longer need them to close the chapter for you. You can do it yourself. It's not about cutting ties forcefully. It's about allowing life to unfold naturally. The unconscious doesn't just send people your way randomly. It sends archetypes. Carl Jung's theory of archetypes tells us that certain universal patterns of behavior exist in the collective unconscious. These archetypes are ingrained in the human experience and shape the way we relate to ourselves, others, and the world. Every significant relationship in your life awakens an archetype, an energetic force that influences how you interact with that person. These archetypes are not just abstract ideas. They are deeply rooted in the dynamics of your interactions. For instance, perhaps someone in your life activated the archetype of the lover, and in that connection, you experienced intense passion and longing. Or perhaps you encountered the healer archetype, where the relationship brought forth opportunities for deep emotional healing. But what happens when these connections end abruptly? When the person who activated these archetypes leaves, the archetype remains active within you, seeking resolution. You might feel as though the story isn't over, even if there's no physical contact. On a symbolic level, the archetype continues to vibrate, seeking closure. The person may be gone, but the energy they activated within you still requires attention. This lingering energy is what makes it difficult to move on, not because you haven't gotten over the person, but because the archetypal energy is still unresolved. Understanding this concept can bring clarity and help you let go of the story that keeps playing in your mind. Looking inward is where the true power lies. It's easy to look at relationships and focus solely on the other person, to get caught up in why they left, why they didn't care, or why they didn't love you in the way you wanted. But as we've seen, it was never about them. It was always about what they were teaching you about yourself. The real transformation occurs when you turn inward. This is where you discover the parts of you that have been waiting for your attention. We are all complex beings with layers of emotion, unconscious drives, and unexamined beliefs. Relationships have a way of revealing these hidden aspects of ourselves. Perhaps you've noticed patterns in your past relationships, feelings of abandonment, fear of intimacy, or a tendency to overgive. These patterns are your unconscious mind's way of showing you where healing is needed. The people who come into your life are not just mirrors for your ego. They are gateways to deeper self-awareness. When you begin to look inward, you start a journey of self-discovery. You peel back the layers of your unconscious, uncovering the beliefs, patterns, and emotions that have shaped your past. You begin to see that your reactions to relationships are often rooted in deeper wounds that need healing. And as you heal these wounds, you become more whole. You stop searching for validation outside yourself because you realize that the validation you've been seeking has always been available within you. Letting go isn't forgetting, it's about understanding and releasing. One of the biggest misconceptions about letting go is that it means you have to forget the person or erase the memory of them from your life. But this isn't true. Letting go isn't about erasure, it's about transformation. It's about understanding that the energy of that person, the lessons they taught you, and the emotional attachments you formed are now part of your story. And that's okay. Letting go means releasing the grip on the past. It means allowing yourself to feel whatever emotions arise without clinging to them. You don't have to force yourself to move on or get over someone. The process of healing and letting go isn't linear. Some days will be harder than others, and that's okay. What's important is that you stop waiting for the past to return and start focusing on how to move forward. The real challenge is in releasing the emotional attachment that keeps you bound to what was, and allowing yourself to create space for what could be. When you stop waiting for the other person to give you closure, you open up the possibility of healing within yourself. And when you do this, the emotional weight of the past begins to lift. The anxiety fades, the sadness dissipates. You make room for new experiences, new connections, and the possibility of a brighter future. Letting go is about giving yourself the freedom to create a new chapter in your life, not one defined by someone else's actions, but by your own growth and transformation. The ultimate lesson: learning to love yourself. Perhaps the most profound lesson that relationships teach us is the importance of self-love. So often, we look for love and validation from others, believing that this is what will make us feel whole. But the truth is that the love we seek outside ourselves is already within us. The key to true emotional freedom is recognizing that you are enough, exactly as you are. You don't need anyone to complete you. You are already complete. When you learn to love yourself, you stop seeking someone else to fill the gaps in your heart. You begin to see yourself with compassion, understanding, and acceptance. You stop measuring your worth by how others treat you, and instead, you measure it by the love and respect you give to yourself. This is when the magic happens. As you deepen your connection with yourself, you begin to attract people into your life who align with your new vibration. The people who enter your life are no longer there to complete you, but to complement your already whole self. You start to attract relationships based on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine love. And when these relationships come, they come not from a place of need, but from a place of abundance and self-acceptance. Life will continue to unfold as it is meant to. Once you've reached this level of self-awareness and healing, something amazing happens. You stop trying to control everything. You stop seeking answers from the past. You begin to trust life's process. You trust that everything that has happened in your life, every person who has come and gone, has served a purpose. You trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should, even when it doesn't make sense in the moment. This trust doesn't come from logic. It comes from deep within, from the understanding that the universe is always guiding you, even through the toughest moments. When you let go of the need for external closure and begin to trust yourself in the process, life begins to flow more smoothly. You stop holding on to the past and start embracing the present, knowing that everything you need is already within you. Trust that the right people will come into your life at the right time. Trust that you will continue to evolve, to grow, and to attract new experiences that align with your true self. Life isn't about waiting for the right moment or the right person. It's about trusting that the universe is always working in your favor. Healing is a process that requires patience and compassion. In our society, we often expect healing to be quick, linear, and immediate. But emotional healing doesn't work that way. It's a complex, intricate process that unfolds over time. It's normal to feel pain, anger, or even confusion during this process. And while it's tempting to push these emotions away in an attempt to move on, true healing comes when we learn to sit with these emotions and allow them to run their course. Self-compassion plays a key role in this journey. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend who's going through a difficult time. Instead of criticizing yourself for feeling hurt, you acknowledge that what you're feeling is valid. You embrace your vulnerability, and in doing so, you create space for healing. This might mean giving yourself permission to grieve the loss of a relationship, even if it ended for reasons outside your control. It's okay to feel sadness, to feel anger, or to even feel lost. These emotions are natural responses to the experiences you've gone through, and they don't diminish your strength or your worth. By practicing self-compassion, you give yourself the gift of understanding, patience, and the time needed to heal. As you become more compassionate toward yourself, you begin to release the harsh judgments you've placed on your emotions. You realize that being human means experiencing the full spectrum of feelings. You stop denying or avoiding your emotions, and instead, you allow them to inform your growth and evolution. In this space of acceptance, you begin to heal not only from the pain of relationships, but also from any internal judgments you've carried about yourself. Forgiveness is not just for others, it's for yourself. Many of us believe that forgiveness is about letting someone else off the hook for their actions. We think that if we forgive, it somehow means we condone what happened, or that we're letting the other person get away with hurtful behavior. But true forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's actions. It's about freeing yourself from the grip that past pain holds over you. It's a release of the emotional charge that continues to tie you to the past. Forgiveness is an internal process. It's about letting go of the anger, resentment, and hurt that you've been carrying. Holding on to these negative emotions doesn't serve you. In fact, they only continue to give the person or the experience power over you. When you forgive, you take back that power. You reclaim your energy. You stop allowing the past to control your present and future. Forgiveness also plays a vital role in the process of healing. It's about accepting that people make mistakes. And sometimes their actions are not a reflection of you. It's about understanding that everyone has their own journey and their own struggles. When you forgive, you're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for yourself. You're freeing yourself from the emotional weight of resentment and allowing space for peace, joy, and healing. Remember, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to reconcile with someone or continue to let them into your life. It simply means you're no longer allowing their actions to impact your emotional well-being. You're choosing to let go of the hurt so that you can move forward unburdened by the past. Growth happens when we allow ourselves to evolve. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery and healing, it's important to recognize that growth is a natural byproduct of life. Change is inevitable, and it often comes in the form of challenges, hardships, and experiences that push us out of our comfort zones. Relationships, especially those that end in pain or loss, offer us some of the most profound opportunities for growth. When you let go of the past and integrate the lessons it has offered you, you open yourself up to new ways of thinking, being, and living. Your perspective shifts, and you begin to see the world through a different lens. No longer are you holding on to the past with regret or resentment. Instead, you begin to look forward with hope, trust, and excitement for the possibilities that lie ahead. This growth requires vulnerability. It requires the courage to face your fears, to confront your inner shadows, and to embrace your imperfections. When you allow yourself to grow, you let go of the need for external validation. You stop measuring your worth by your past experiences or by the approval of others. Instead, you come to know your value intrinsically. You understand that your worth is not tied to anyone else's perception of you, but to the love and respect you have for yourself. The beauty of growth is that it often happens in ways we don't expect. Sometimes it's only in hindsight that we realize how much we've evolved. What seemed like a painful experience becomes a stepping stone that propelled us into a new chapter of our lives. And as we continue to grow, we begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that align with our new vibration. One that's rooted in self-love, acceptance, and personal power. Letting go is an act of surrender. There's a misconception that letting go is about forcing yourself to stop caring, to stop thinking about someone, or to stop feeling the emotions that come with a loss. But in reality, letting go is an art of surrender. It's about releasing the need to control everything and accepting that some things are beyond our control. It's about trusting the process of life and having faith that everything is unfolding as it should. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up or resigning yourself to a fate you don't want. It's about releasing resistance to what is. It's about accepting that some things are meant to happen and some people are meant to leave. Surrendering to the present moment is one of the most powerful ways to heal and to invite peace into your life. When you surrender, you stop clinging to the outcome. You stop waiting for answers from the past and start embracing the beauty of the present. You trust that whatever has left your life has already served its purpose and that new experiences and people will come when the time is right. Surrender is the ultimate form of self-trust. It's an act of letting go of the past so that you can create space for new possibilities. The journey of healing and self-discovery never ends. As we move through life, there's a constant ebb and flow of experiences, relationships, and personal growth. The journey of healing, letting go, and self-discovery doesn't have a definitive end. It's a lifelong process, one that requires continual introspection, learning, and growth. There will always be new lessons to learn, new aspects of yourself to discover, and new ways of relating to others. But what happens when you've made peace with the past? What happens when you've integrated the lessons, forgiven the wrongs, and released the need for closure from others? You move forward, but you do so with a deeper sense of inner peace. You move forward with an understanding that everything you've experienced, the pain, the loss, the growth, has shaped you into the person you are today. You've learned to trust yourself, to trust life, and to trust the journey. The journey continues with the knowledge that you are never truly lost. You are always evolving, always growing, and always becoming a better version of yourself. And as you continue on this journey, you'll attract the right people, the right experiences, and the right opportunities, not because you need them, but because you are already whole, already complete. The unconscious mind holds the key to your true self. In order to fully understand the dynamics of letting go and healing, it's essential to explore the role of the unconscious mind. Carl Jung, one of the pioneers of depth psychology, emphasized the importance of the unconscious in shaping our behaviors, thoughts, and experiences. He taught that much of our life is influenced by unconscious forces that are not immediately visible to us. These forces often manifest in the form of dreams, repressed memories, and unresolved emotions that we may not fully understand. The unconscious mind doesn't follow logic. It operates based on symbols, emotions, and archetypes, patterns that we carry within us from birth and that shape our worldview. These archetypes, such as the lover, the hero, or the shadow, represent different aspects of our psyche that guide us throughout life. They hold deep psychological truths that, when understood, can unlock hidden potentials and lead us to profound healing. When it comes to relationships, the unconscious mind plays a significant role. The feelings of attraction or repulsion we experience toward others are often a reflection of unconscious dynamics at play. For example, you might feel deeply drawn to someone who mirrors unresolved issues from your past, or you might repeatedly find yourself in relationships that reflect patterns of abandonment or self-doubt. These patterns are not random. They are the psyche's way of attempting to work through unresolved conflicts. The key to transformation is recognizing these unconscious drives and learning to integrate them. When you begin to work with your unconscious mind, you can begin to decode the messages hidden within your thoughts, dreams, and emotional responses. This awareness allows you to break free from repeating patterns and to release the unconscious energy that binds you to the past. By doing so, you free yourself from the internal struggles that keep you tethered to unhealthy relationships, toxic patterns, and unresolved wounds. Pain is not something to avoid. It is an opportunity for transformation. One of the most profound aspects of emotional healing is the ability to transmute pain into wisdom. Just as alchemists sought to turn base metals into gold, we have the power to transform emotional suffering into personal growth. When we experience heartache, it can feel as though we've been broken. But in reality, this brokenness is an invitation to change, to become something stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our true selves. Emotional alchemy requires that we embrace our pain rather than resist it. Pain has a message for us. It reveals parts of ourselves that have been neglected or hidden. It points us toward areas in our lives that need attention, healing, and growth. Instead of viewing pain as something to avoid or suppress, we can approach it as an opportunity to learn more about ourselves. This process is not about bypassing pain or trying to find quick fixes. It's about sitting with the discomfort and allowing it to guide us. When we approach pain with curiosity and openness, it becomes a powerful tool for transformation. Through this process, we learn to trust ourselves, to listen to our inner wisdom, and to release what no longer serves us. Emotional alchemy also involves letting go of the need to blame others or to hold on to the past. The past may have shaped us, but it doesn't define us. By taking responsibility for our own healing, we empower ourselves to create a new future. This shift in perspective allows us to view our challenges not as obstacles, but as catalysts for growth. Healing requires the creation of healthy boundaries. An essential part of emotional healing is learning to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep others out. They are guidelines for how we allow others to treat us and how we treat ourselves. They define the space between us and others, protecting our energy and emotional well-being. Setting boundaries can be difficult, especially when we've been conditioned to put others' needs before our own. We may have learned to tolerate behaviors that are hurtful or dismissive, or we may struggle to say no to people who drain us. But boundaries are an essential part of self-love and self-respect. Without boundaries, we allow others to dictate our emotional landscape. We give away our power and energy without even realizing it. When we begin to heal, we need to recognize where our boundaries have been violated and where we need to draw clearer lines in our relationships. This may mean cutting ties with people who continually hurt us, or learning to say no to requests that don't align with our needs and values. It may also involve learning to communicate more effectively, ensuring that our feelings and needs are respected. Boundaries are also essential in the healing process because they create the space for self-reflection and growth. When we set clear boundaries, we give ourselves the freedom to explore our emotions without the distraction of outside influences. This allows us to focus on healing and self-discovery rather than constantly trying to meet the expectations of others. Self-awareness is the gateway to personal power. As you continue your journey of emotional healing and self-discovery, self-awareness becomes a powerful tool in reclaiming your personal power. Self-awareness is the ability to observe your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment. It allows you to step outside of your automatic reactions and choose how you want to respond to situations. When we are unaware of our patterns and unconscious drives, we often feel like life is happening to us. We become reactive rather than proactive, and we allow external circumstances to control our emotions. But when we cultivate self-awareness, we begin to understand the deeper motivations behind our actions and reactions. We can identify when we're being triggered by past wounds, when we're falling into old patterns, and when we're sabotaging our own progress. Self-awareness also enables us to make conscious choices. Instead of reacting impulsively to situations or people, we can pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with our highest good. This level of awareness brings us closer to our authentic self, allowing us to live from a place of personal power and self-confidence. The more we practice self-awareness, the more we learn to trust ourselves. We develop a deep sense of inner knowing, and we no longer seek validation or approval from others. We become our own source of strength, wisdom, and guidance. And it's through this self-awareness that we find the courage to let go of what no longer serves us and to embrace the possibilities that lie ahead. Life is an ongoing mystery, and embracing it allows us to grow. As we move through life, it's easy to become fixated on finding clear answers and seeking certainty. We often want to understand why things happen, why people leave, and what the purpose of our struggles is. But life is inherently mysterious, and sometimes the answers we seek aren't meant to be found immediately. Sometimes the best thing we can do is to embrace the mystery and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. The unknown is uncomfortable for many of us because it challenges our need for control. But embracing the unknown opens us up to new possibilities and opportunities for growth. It allows us to surrender to the flow of life and trust that we are being guided to where we need to go. This doesn't mean we stop taking action or that we passively wait for things to happen. It means we let go of the need to control every outcome and instead focus on being present with each moment. We trust that every experience, every person, and every challenge is part of a greater plan for our evolution. By embracing the mystery of life, we open ourselves up to the unexpected blessings that come our way. We allow ourselves to experience joy, love, and connection without the burden of needing to understand everything. And in doing so, we become more resilient, more adaptable, and more aligned with the true flow of life. Your worth is not determined by the approval of others. As we heal, it's important to recognize the profound impact that external validation can have on our sense of self-worth. Throughout our lives, we may have looked to others for approval, whether it's from parents, partners, or friends. We may have believed that our value was determined by how others perceived us or how they treated us. But this is a false narrative. Your worth is not dependent on anyone else's opinion of you. When we stop seeking validation from others, we reclaim our personal power. We stop measuring our value by the standards of others and start defining it based on our own beliefs and values. We begin to understand that we are worthy of love, respect, and success, not because of anything we've done or achieved, but because of who we are. Releasing the need for external validation is liberating. It allows us to make decisions that align with our authentic selves, without the fear of judgment or rejection. It also opens up space for true self-love, because when we stop looking outside for validation, we begin to cultivate it within ourselves. This shift in perspective also empowers us to let go of toxic relationships or situations where we feel undervalued or unseen. We no longer tolerate behavior that diminishes our sense of self-worth. Instead, we embrace relationships that nourish, respect, and uplift us. Healing isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. As we continue on the path of healing and self-discovery, one of the most important lessons to embrace is the idea that perfection is not the goal. So often, we are conditioned to believe that we must be flawless, that only by achieving perfection will we be worthy of love, success, or peace. This societal pressure to be perfect can lead to constant dissatisfaction and inner conflict. But true healing occurs not when we attain perfection, but when we accept ourselves, flaws, imperfections, and all. The need for perfection often stems from a deep-seated fear of rejection or inadequacy. We may believe that if we are not perfect, we are not enough, but this belief keeps us trapped in a cycle of self-criticism and self-doubt. It prevents us from seeing the beauty in our authentic selves. The truth is that imperfection is part of being human. It is in our vulnerabilities and flaws that we find our deepest connections to others and our truest sense of self. Let go of the pressure to be perfect. Instead, focus on progress, on becoming more aligned with your true self. Healing is not about eradicating every flaw. It's about learning to embrace all parts of who you are. When you release the need for perfection, you create the space to fully experience your humanity with all its challenges and triumphs. And in that space, you allow true transformation to unfold. Trust is the foundation of your transformation. One of the most powerful tools for healing and growth is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust in the universe. Life is full of ups and downs, twists and turns. There will be moments when it feels like everything is falling apart. But these moments are often the catalysts for the most profound transformations. When you trust the process, you are able to surrender to the flow of life, knowing that each experience is leading you toward your highest good. Trusting the process doesn't mean that everything will always go according to plan, or that there won't be challenges along the way. It means that you accept that life is not linear, and that every experience, even the difficult ones, holds value. These experiences teach us important lessons and help us grow. Trusting the process means embracing the uncertainty, knowing that everything is unfolding as it should. When you trust the process, you release the need for control. You stop trying to micromanage your life and instead allow yourself to be guided by intuition and wisdom. Trust gives you the courage to face the unknown, to take risks, and to grow beyond the limitations you once believed were holding you back. True healing is rooted in living with integrity. As we heal, we begin to align more closely with our true values and beliefs. This alignment leads us to live with integrity, to honor our word, our promises, and our sense of self. Integrity is the foundation of emotional freedom. When we live with integrity, we are not swayed by external pressures or the opinions of others. We act in alignment with our deepest truths, and we make choices that are in harmony with our inner values. Living with integrity is not always easy. especially when we are faced with situations that challenge our beliefs or when we feel the urge to compromise in order to fit in. But living authentically is the ultimate form of self-respect. When we act in accordance with our values, we cultivate a sense of peace and confidence that no external approval can provide. Integrity also means being honest with ourselves. It requires us to confront the parts of ourselves that we may have been avoiding, whether it's our fears, our past mistakes, or our unmet desires. When we embrace our full truth, we free ourselves from the burden of denial and self-deception, and it's through this honesty that we are able to heal and grow in the most profound ways. And gratitude is the key to lasting peace. As we near the end of this journey of healing and self-discovery, the final step is to cultivate gratitude. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a mindset that shifts our perspective from lack to abundance. It is the recognition that everything we have experienced, both the joyful and painful moments, has contributed to our growth. Gratitude allows us to see the beauty in every experience, every lesson, and every challenge. When we cultivate gratitude, we stop focusing on what we have lost and begin to appreciate what we have gained. We acknowledge the lessons we've learned and the strength we've developed. Gratitude is the energy that shifts us from a place of scarcity to a place of abundance, where we realize that we are whole, complete, and worthy of all the good that life has to offer. Embracing gratitude also allows us to release any lingering resentment or bitterness. We stop holding on to past hurts, and instead, we open our hearts to forgiveness. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we cannot control to what we can. It empowers us to let go of the past and to step into the present moment with a renewed sense of peace and purpose. You are always on the path of transformation. As you reflect on the lessons and insights shared in this message, remember that the journey of healing and self-discovery is ongoing. It is not a destination, but a process. Every step you take toward understanding yourself, releasing old wounds, and embracing your true essence is a victory. And as you continue this journey, remember that you are never alone. The wisdom of the unconscious, the support of your inner self, and the guidance of those who walk this path before you are always available to you. Healing is not about erasing the past or pretending it never happened. It's about integrating those experiences into your being and using them as stepping stones to move forward. It's about accepting yourself as you are, perfect, evolving, and worthy of love. You are a beautiful, complex being with infinite potential. Embrace the journey of self-discovery with open arms, knowing that every moment is an opportunity to deepen your connection with yourself and the world around you. You have everything you need within you to heal, to grow, and to live a life filled with joy, peace, and authenticity. So take a deep breath and trust the path you are on. You are exactly where you need to be, and everything that is meant for you will come in its own time. Remember, the journey is not about reaching an end point, but about learning, evolving, and becoming more of who you truly are. If this message resonated with you, share it. If this message touched your heart, share it with those who might need to hear it. You never know how your words or the lessons you've learned could be the catalyst for someone else's transformation. And as you continue to explore the mysteries of the psyche, the unconscious, and emotional healing, stay connected. Leave me a comment, share your thoughts, and tell me which part of this reflection spoke to you the most. Remember, healing and growth are not solitary pursuits. They are shared experiences that bind us all together. By engaging with this content, by sharing it, you contribute to a collective journey of self-discovery and emotional freedom. If you haven't subscribed yet, take a moment to do so and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new insights on the psyche, the unconscious, and the wisdom that Carl Jung left for us all. Let's continue exploring together. And as you go forward in life, remember this: Everything you seek outside of yourself is already within you.